All right, everyone, we're here. We're here. We had planned to do this last week, but it's sports. You draw the play up a certain way, and then sometimes the play goes left or the play goes right, but you still got to try to put the ball in the basket or run the ball in the end zone. Let me make sure I could see myself on YouTube. All right, we are live. Okay, I'll click that one. All right, there is an ad. Let me get past the ad. All right, and there's me and my Buffalo Braves t-shirt. So I'm going to share this over on my original channel in case anyone wants to come over and watch this. I'm sure people are watching other things at this hour. I'll give it a like. Okay, do this quickly. All right, so that's been shared over there. All right, thank you to those folks watching. Please smash the like button. If any of my regular subs on this channel are watching, you know that I've talked about this book I'm writing. It's football season, so we've been hitting Michigan football over here pretty hard. But I am working on this book project, and I've been interviewing some of the guys who have helped me out with my research. So first of all, let me, for branding purposes, everyone, this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are new. If you want to donate something to the channel tonight, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box. You can leave a super thanks, and the super chat will be live. Okay, so everyone, tonight I'm interviewing Coach Carlos Bradberry. Coach Carlos Bradberry, well, I have a bit of a history with him. I'm going to introduce this by bringing this up. I'm gonna try to be brief. It's almost 9:30. This is my book project, The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story. It's a story about basketball, but it's also a story about life and learning how to compete and learning how to make the best of what you have, and realizing that you may not have all the tools in life that you need, and in some instances it's about learning that for a given thing everyone starts from a different place. In this particular arena it was basketball, but this applies to everything. This book is about people. It's about learning to succeed. It's about mastering crafts. It's about just how everything in life fits together. So in this particular crucible, that was Western New York basketball, or Section 6. In every area, there's a dominant team, or there are dominant teams. And in our area, in Western New York, in Section 6, the dominant team of that era was the LaSalle Explorers from Niagara Falls, New York. That LaSalle, Niagara Falls was about 30 minutes north of Buffalo. And LaSalle played in the Class A sectional. And if you've been watching some of the content involving Coach Pat Monty and Tim Wynn and Modi Cox, I had all those three gentlemen here. LaSalle won the sectional for 10 straight years in Western New York, and they were no strangers to the Rochester schools, and they were frequent visitors to our state tournament out in Glens Falls, New York. So it was a big deal, and they were arguably the program that everybody was chasing after. And they were arguably the program that everybody feared. And they were the top program. Arguably St. Joe's was there with them. Arguably Buffalo Traditional was there with them too, but it was LaSalle in large part and everybody else. I have a quick audio excerpt from my first interview with Carlos. Both print interviews are in the description box below, but I'm going to play this. This is really, really quick. This is me talking to Carlos before our Q&A, and this kind of gives you a feel for how I first came to know the LaSalle program, because they were doing what they were doing before I got onto my Hutch Tech basketball team. So, but hey, I'll start off with three quick stories to kind of break the ice here. I don't remember. Yeah, we played you guys in the 1991 Festival of Lights tournament in the opening round, and you guys handled us by about 30 points. And you know, it was funny. It was the day before that game. You know, my story is one of I was discovering things as I went along. So I didn't know who LaSalle was. And so the day before the game, after our coach gave us the scouting report, one of my teammates, as we were leaving the gym, said, you know, well, we're not going to beat LaSalle, you know. And I was thinking, well, how can you say that? You know, we got to play the game. How can you say that? And then as the game gradually unfolded, you know, I started to see what he was talking about. And I remember you slashing into the basket and gashing us over and over and over again. And the announcer saying your name over and over again. So I really developed a respect for you guys after that. So everyone, with that, I'm going to welcome up Coach Carlos Bradberry, the coach of the Niagara Falls High School boys basketball team, the Wolverines. Not the Michigan Wolverines, the Niagara Falls High School Wolverines.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Carlos, what's going
on? Not much, just getting to the grind already. That's about it. Just left the gym hour ago with the boys, so we're already getting started.
Okay. When's the first game? Is it in?
We officially start practice November 13th. Then our first game's December 1st.
Okay. All right. So is that typical nowadays for the coaches to start working the players out in September and October?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the programs, a lot of the privates, some of the publics will start getting their guys in the gym a couple times a week once school starts. You know, it's sort of a voluntary thing where anybody can show up, not necessarily just the guys we're going to have on our team, but anybody who's hopeful of playing can come in. You know, we'll do workouts twice. So we go twice a week. But yeah, it's pretty common. Okay.
All right. Well, Carlos, I want to be mindful of your time and my time. I have to go in the office tomorrow. So
yeah.
We are starting at after 9. Before we start talking about basketball and the Wolverines and all the success you've had there, I have one question for you, man. How come you never root for the home team? What's up with you and the Dolphins? What's up?
So I grew up when I started watching football, man. I grew up watching Dan Marino, and that's all that stuck with me.
Dan Marino?
Yes. Yep. So that's how I fell in love with the Dolphins and ended up despising the Bills.
Okay. All right. So for everyone who doesn't know, Carlos, he comes pretty hard for us, man. And when it's time for the Dolphins to play the Bills, Carlos shows out on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm getting it right now, though.
All right. We will leave that there. All right. So you're a coach now in your hometown of Niagara Falls. Did you ever think you'd be the coach of the well, now there's one school, there were two, but did you ever see yourself in this position?
Not really. I mean, I never, like, when I was younger, you know, and when I got done with school, I didn't think right away that coaching it was what I was gonna get into. So not really. But then once I got into the school system, I did realize it's something that I had a passion for, and I didn't know if I would ever get the head coaching job, but I know I wanted to be it at some point.
Okay, because you worked pretty closely with your son Jalen. I mean,
Mhm.
you showed footage of all the drills you had him do and all the workouts you guys were doing. So you know your stuff. But
Yeah,
it's
I
interesting
mean,
you're saying that you weren't aspiring to this 10 years ago.
no, we more, me and a group of the local dads sort of got probably about 6 to 10 kids together at a young age, probably 6 or 7, and we just really used to get those kids in the gym, work them out. We would do our, take them to local tournaments and stuff like that. But I don't think at that time any of us were aspiring to really be coaches. We were just trying to get our kids better and our community better. And that was it. I don't think any of us were thinking, hey, we want to go coach at the high school level or anything beyond what we were doing, which was coaching probably 10 and under at the time.
Hmm. Do you ever reflect on the LaSalle days?
Um, through coaching now, yes. At the high school level, my younger guys probably not when we were working out with the younger guys, but at my level now, yes. Just because I learned a ton from Coach Monty LaSalle that I try to incorporate into our guys still today. So I definitely reflect on the LaSalle days and try to bring some of that knowledge that I learned from back in the day to the current group that we're coaching.
Okay. Has it been easy? Well, let me ask this another way. Have you tried to establish that winning culture there the way Coach Monty did with you guys? Has it been the same, or do you have a different set of kids than you guys were, or what's that been like?
Kids are totally different. Kids are different. Parents are different. Everything's different today, but I think I still use a very similar approach, which is um, just kids working hard, doing things the right way, being a team orientated team where we're not individually based, and then really just playing basketball the right way. That's what I try to incorporate, which I think is sharing the ball, playing hard defensively, um, and that's all stuff that we learned back in the LaSalle days.
Okay, okay. Do they well, I mean, there's no way they would know unless they watched footage or read newspaper clippings. Uh, do they know how dominant you guys were back then, or is
I
that just
don't.
something you and your peer group know?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're more, they're more what they're more in touch, or they know more about probably the Paul Harris, Johnny Flynn days
Hmm.
of the Niagara Falls High School. I think we were a little bit past our time, past their time of them knowing the LaSalle days. Or probably not. Most of them probably don't even know LaSalle even existed. So I think they're more in touch with the Johnny Flynn, Paul Harris is the super group that we had it, and even a little bit more of we had Demondi Johnson and those guys, which are a little bit younger than myself. So I think that the new Niagara Falls High School, once they built the new school, I think they're a lot more familiar with those days than the LaSalle, old Niagara Falls Power Cat days.
Okay. Now, so you finished up your college basketball days, your playing days at New Hampshire,
Yeah.
and then moved back to Niagara Falls. And we just talked about how you and some of the other dads were coaching Jalen and the other youngsters.
Yeah.
Is that how you started coaching? Were you coaching them in summer leagues? Were you coaching them in AAU or?
To start, we just basically were not even playing games. We were just getting those guys in the gym and working them out. I think probably my son was six sister this, and so our group was probably 6 to 8 year olds, and we weren't doing a lot of playing. We were doing a lot of drilling, where we were getting the guys in the gym, just doing ball handling stuff with them, defensive stuff, a little bit of shooting because the kids were so small, but we really weren't doing too many tournaments. Maybe we'll play in a local boys club league, obviously, if we found an outside league to play in, but we were more concentrated at that point on, I think our approach was trying to build these kids' skill level up, and in our back of our mind, I think we had a few dads that were thinking, maybe down the line, if we kept working with this group, we could form something special here.
Okay. So talk about going from that point, because I remember Jalen played at Park.
Yep.
Well, actually, he was at Niagara Falls High School first, right?
Jalen, so Jalen ended up graduating from Niagara Falls High School. He was at Niagara Falls. He went to Park for a year, and then he finished back up in Niagara Falls.
Okay. So how did you talk about getting the Niagara Falls High School job? I mean, I know I've heard stories about I know Coach Monty didn't get the job when LaSalle closed, but what was your pathway in there?
I mean, I was a JV coach, modified JV coach for probably close to 10 years. I coached for a long time with a lot of, good coaches at the high school. We probably had a couple of times that the job opened up. The first time the job opened up, I was definitely not ready for the job. I was probably a couple years in. I didn't know much. I was trying to learn the high school game a lot more. Second time the job opened up, I still was probably a little bit too green for the job. Then the third time it opened up was actually didn't go to me. It went to another individual who, like I said, I was a 10-year coach. He was almost a 20-year assistant. So he ended up getting a job, which was, he's very experienced, knows his stuff, knows basketball. But then he stepped away, which gave me the chance to come in and take over the program.
Okay. Now what did you need to learn going from the JV level to the varsity level? Was it some sort of, the rules are all the same, right? Was it something else? Was it, well, you tell us.
I mean, I think at the JV level, it's a lot more development stuff, which is stuff I was used to doing. I was used to having kids in the gym. Like my practice at the JV level were basically like workouts. We would get the kids in the gym. We're working on our ball handling. We're working on our shooting. We're not spending the bulk of our time game planning because we don't have to win. My goal as a JV coach was to get guys ready for varsity. So it's a huge difference between going from JV, where you're developing kids, where varsity, you're still developing kids, but now, you're winning. The goal is to win, get these kids on to college. So the approach is a lot more detailed once you get to the varsity level, where, you're watching film almost daily, or you're going scouting daily. You don't do that stuff on JV. At least I don't. My JV was spent on trying to just develop boys to get them ready for our head coach.
Okay. Now, so let's go back. So at LaSalle, did you go straight to varsity? Did you play JV first?
I started in the 8th grade. I played JV in the 8th grade. So I played maybe a little 7th grade actually, a little, then 7th and 8th grade was JV for me. And then 9th grade, I believe I was there the whole year long. Yes. So 9th grade, I was there the whole year long. They moved me up pretty early 9th grade season, and then I stuck from there. But I played JV 8th grade and 7th grade. Okay,
so same deal, development versus actually
yes
winning games, going to the sectionals, going to the state tournament. Okay,
right.
All right, I'm going to play a short snippet here from our print discussion, and I'll ask more questions on the other side.
Okay.
Our whole family was, even our cousins and everything, was sort of a basketball family. So I just grew up watching basketball. My dad used to take us, me and my brother, to high school games when like Trot was really good back in the day, and so we would go see Trot play and Niagara Falls play when we were younger. I think that's what really got me going, just that. And it was just sort of a family thing. Like basketball was it through my cousins. My older cousins always played, so I always played with those guys. And man, that was really it. Everybody knew each other. Everybody played together, and you sort of like me growing up, I didn't know where I was going to fall to play because it was so funny how they had like the school districts cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in walking distance to Niagara Falls High School, but where I lived, they bused us to LaSalle because I was a LaSalle kid, but I could walk to Niagara Falls High School, and LaSalle was like miles and miles away from me. So it was funny, but so you knew everybody, you played with everybody. Most people would be like, who? Greg Anthony is what he is. But he was my favorite player back when UNLV had those great college teams.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's funny. Like I wore number 50, which was odd for a guard because Greg Anthony wore number 50.
Oh.
So that's why I wore number 50 through high school.
Okay. So the what year did you start as the varsity coach? Was that pre-pandemic or post-pandemic?
It was we the first year was pre-pandemic, and then we went into post. So I was no, actually the first year was 2021 was my first year that I was a head coach. Was 2020 2021 actually.
Okay, I have written down here. I know that Niagara Falls. I know Jalen was teamed up. You guys had a big three. It was Jalen, it was Roddy Gale Jr., and the Lightfoot kid.
Yep.
Why that team break up?
All right, so to go back with first, that's the group of guys who we sort of got together and started working these kids out when they were young kids. I don't think it was much of a breakup. It was just more of just, I think, a decision of every family that was trying to do the best thing for their kids. So all the kids were together at Niagara Catholic, 7th grade. Our goal was, hey, we keep them here. And we were looking at hopefully by, 9th grade, have them either at Niagara Catholic or at Niagara Falls High School. So what happened was, I know from my situation, when we get to 9th grade, and it was, who we have? We had Jalen, and Jalen ended up staying at Niagara Catholic once he went from the middle school. So Roddy and Willie ended up returning to Niagara Falls High School for 9th grade, while Jalen ended up staying at Niagara Catholic. Reason being was I liked the Catholic situation. I liked the basketball situation. I liked the whole situation for my son individually. And I think for those guys individually, their parents liked the situation at Niagara Falls High School. So from there, we went to Jalen goes on to 10th grade. Niagara Catholic closes. So Niagara Catholic closes. We go back to Niagara Falls High School. Willie Lightfoot's still there. Roddy at that time had just made a huge leap and bounds from an athletic standpoint, from a basketball standpoint, where he was ready to go on to the prep level. So he spent a year at Newport, but then Roddy went on to play, big time high school basketball out at what is it called? Wasatch Academy, I believe, which is out. Don't want to say Utah or something.
Wow.
So it was for I know for Roddy, it was a situation where it was something he had to take advantage of. He sort of grew as a basketball player. He outgrew the area. So he went out that way. Jalen and Willie were still at the high school. And then at some point, Willie decided to do that prep route also, where he ended up going away to Sunrise Christian. And he spent a year there. Then he ended up his last year, he ended up back with Roddy, playing with him at Wasatch Academy. So I think for me, for my son, we were looking to make the leap to a prep, but then by the time we were going to do it is when COVID hit, which was the year that I got the job. And it was sort of like we probably waited a year too late to move. But everybody it's just the way sort of high school basketball is going, especially in Western New York, that most of your top guys are starting to move on to prep schools for a better chance of getting that elusive college scholarship.
So for the lay person and the novice who's not familiar with this world, so that's why the kids go to prep school. Because I remember back in our day, guys were going to what was it, Oak Hill Academy?
Yep.
Where did Lamar Odom go? Did Lamar Odom go to Oak Hill? A bunch of those guys went to Oak Hill. They went to
Oak Hill's huge. Yeah, still, yep.
So that's the advantage is that they had a better chance of getting Division I scholarships there versus where they were from.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing year long, you're training year long. It's more of a college setting, college system than you're getting in high school. Kids are in the gym all day. They're weight training. Their coaches are, not necessarily teachers. They're basketball coaches where they're there to just coach basketball. So what's the difference? Kids are really making that wave, and now from here to Syracuse, like our top guys for the last few years have been leaving, where we don't have that same level of basketball now because all our top guys are going. All our top guys, most of our top guys from here to Syracuse are ending up at prep schools, and it just gets earlier and earlier. Before it was guys waiting until 11th and 12th grade. Now it's guys leaving in 9th and 10th grade.
Wow. Okay. Now is the AAU, is that still big?
It is, but I mean the thing is, since COVID has hit, it sort of changed everything.
Okay.
AAU is still big. It's still probably one of the biggest ways to get recruited. A lot of college coaches aren't coming to Western New York to watch high school basketball. The plain sense is, if I go to the EYBL or the Under Armour circuit, I can go as a college coach. I can go and see 300 kids in one weekend, where if I'm driving to Buffalo or Niagara Falls, New York, I might see 2 or 3 kids. So it's I think it's a convenience thing for coaches, and it's a lot easier where you can go and catch everybody in one building for a weekend or a couple weekends rather than traveling somewhere to see 1 or 2 kids. So it's definitely changed a lot over the years, but most of our recruiting locally is happening from the AAU level.
Okay. All right. Before we move on, we're about at the halfway point right now. I remember in our print interview, we talked about LaSalle closing. We talked about the schools being merged into one, and so now you have these 2 teams, and kids can play on both teams. But now you have this one team, so there are fewer spots.
Yeah.
I mean, is that? I mean, is that kind of like the normal now? I mean, do you see? I guess we'll talk about eventually how you put your teams together. But do you see kids where you just don't have enough slots, and you're like, you know what? If we had 2 schools, that kid would be playing.
Yeah.
But we just have one school, so there's not enough room for everybody.
Yeah, it's one of the disadvantages, especially from a kid standpoint, is we have 12 to 14. I think last year I kept 14 guys, which is probably the most I ever kept. It's just a numbers game. We have a couple thousand, kids in our school, and we can only take 14, where before we had 2. So you can give probably about 30 kids opportunity, where now we're only giving half those kids opportunities. So it's tough. It's a really tough selection process. It's really tough trying to find the right mix of kids. And it's tough for me building a team because I can't pick 13. I probably never will pick the 13 best kids at tryouts because I'm not going to play 13 kids in a game. So to me, it's I'm looking for, the 8 or 9 kids that are going to play. Then I'm looking for probably 4 or 5 kids that are going to be a great fit for the program. They're going to come bust their butts every day. No, they're not going to play much, but still give what they can, be good kids academically, socially. So whenever I post our kids try out and we have teams, probably people always look at it and say, hey, he didn't pick the best 13 kids. And maybe I probably don't, but that's not the way that I'm looking at building a team or building a program.
Have you had to develop thick skin being the varsity coach?
Oh yeah.
And in terms of blocking out all the noise and all the chatter?
Yeah, I mean, and it comes with the territory. I think you know that when you sign up, especially now in the social media age, you're going to get killed on when you win a game, you lose a game, no matter what, you're always going to get some backlash. So I think you have to have thick skin, but I think you know that going into it. And if you're going to coach anywhere, any level, you have to deal with it and be okay with it.
Okay, that's interesting because, it's not just you and your kids. You're probably dealing with their parents.
Yeah.
To some degree, you're dealing with other onlookers from the community, and being the head basketball coach, it's kind of a multi-level thing.
Yeah, it's tough, and I'm going to say this I've coached, what I say, since 2020. Now I've had great parents. I've got supportive parents. I think a big thing with me is I sort of let the parents know that I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to talk to you. I'm not going to agree with you all the time. You're not going to agree with me all the time. But I think just having an open communication where I say, hey, listen, if there's any issue that we have, let's wait a day. If we're angry, then let's talk about it and let's go on from there. So I really, over the last 3-4 years, I haven't had much of any issues with parents. It's been pretty good. Now the community part, it goes in anything. If you're winning, it's great. If you're struggling, it's not great. You're going to hear a little bit more about it. But again, like we said, that comes with the territory. You get used to it and you sort of move on. But for the most part, I think people know that me, my staff, we're in it sort of for the right things. We're trying to do the right things by our kids. We're trying to approach it the right way. So we haven't had too much negative feedback. And at the same time, Niagara Falls has always sort of just been a huge basketball town. So I think they're behind it. They're behind the program, mostly whoever is in charge most of the time anyways.
Okay. I have another montage here. I'm going to play this, and then I have another set of questions. We're almost done.
Yep, I'm good.
All right.
No, it's funny. I thought we always had some, we had the older guys who were really into basketball, the new basketball. We always had someone that really knew basketball. It wasn't just someone thrown in there. It was, I know, like, Mike Hamilton coached, he's a referee in the area now. Mike Hamilton coached me, primarily when I was in Biddy League. Most people would be like, who? Greg Anthony is what he is. But he was my favorite player back when UNLV had those great college teams.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's funny. Like, I wore number 50, which was odd for a guard because Greg Anthony wore number 50.
Oh.
So that's why I wore number 50 through high school. He was just very good attention to detail. Everything was tight. Like, not making a knock on any of the college coaches. I played at 2 Division I schools, and I always say Coach Monty was the most knowledgeable coach that I've ever played for.
Wow. That's quite an observation there, that even going on to the college level, Coach Monty was the most knowledgeable.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of great, knowledgeable high school coaches that, for whatever reason, just don't go on to coach college basketball. Whether it's just the opportunity wasn't there, they don't want to take on that responsibility. There's some great minds in high school basketball, and Coach Monty was definitely one of them. Like I said, no knock on the guys that I've played for past high school, but I mean, man, if there's anybody I wanted to coach me in a game, or hey, if I had a coach that needed to come back and coach one of my Niagara Falls High School teams to a victory, Coach Monty be the guy I'll be calling up.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember Darius Thomas from Niagara Falls High School. Yeah, when I interviewed him, I mean, he was at your rival school, but he sung Coach Monty's praises. He said, Coach Monty, he said they had a real coach over there at LaSalle. And I mean, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but he said, we didn't at Niagara Falls High School. He said that was the difference in them whipping us every year.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, Niagara Falls High School had some good coaches. It's just they've had good coaches who put time in, who worked hard, tried to keep their program, and has some pretty successful teams. It's just, unfortunately, they couldn't beat LaSalle, so that's a big knock on them. But they had some good coaches. They had guys who really put time in. It's just that, like I said, Coach Monty was sort of one of the special coaches ever in Western New York, which I think he's one of the most winning coaches in Western New York. So it's a difference between good and great. And Coach Monty was great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that Coach Monty said that impressed me was around sectional time. I don't know if it was Coach Rotundo, but he said he had a coach go out to the Rochester semifinals, so he could scout the teams, and so you guys already had the blueprint when you guys made the regional. So he was prepared for pretty much everything.
Yep.
Were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, talk about really quickly what it was like, because me and Jason Rowe talked about this. He's over at Time, and coming out of the COVID year, what was it like to have everything for you guys stop and then to restart it?
It was horrible. I mean, it was just the COVID year, I think was tough for everybody. It was, but mostly just for the kids. And I know it was out of our control, but like to see the kids playing empty gyms, to just go through what they had to go through. Kids that hadn't played basketball in a year. Like when we came to tryouts and we're trying out, and kids with masks, and we got the trainers in there, making sure that we're not making the kids run too hard, because us just naturally want to go. And I'm like, gosh, these kids haven't played basketball in a year. So we had kids who would sprint up the court twice and be ready to pass out. It was extremely tough across the boards that COVID year. The biggest downside, I know, even for me, like talking to my son about it, him being, he was a senior that year, and he just like, man, I would have loved to have the chance to play in front of those play in a Cataract Classic in front of that big crowd my senior year so I think from the kids' standpoint, it was really disappointing, but also it was a blessing that they did actually even get a chance to play, because a lot of states weren't playing, a lot of places were not playing. So I just try to relate that to the kids that, we're privileged to be playing right now, because there's a lot of kids who aren't playing at all. So I know, we're playing in front of nobody. It's just our parents in the crowd, but let's make the most of it and let's have fun. And then transitioning back into, after, well, COVID obviously is here to stay, it sounds like, but just getting back into a rhythm of having fans back at game, being able to do stuff naturally, not wearing masks. I think it was a huge relief for everybody. I think it was, I think for our kids, it was great to like to see those kids play in front of a crowd again. It was just to see their faces and their reactions. It was great. So hopefully we stay on that path and we don't have to go back to that again.
Okay. Yeah, I remember asking you that year, and I think they crowned a sectional champion, but you guys didn't go forward to the regional.
Yeah, and that's probably, and it's easy to say it because the games weren't played, but that's probably the year that we probably had one of our most talented teams, and like I said, that's probably the year we would have been in Glens Falls and probably could have made some noise that year. But unfortunately, we didn't get to play that Rochester game to get there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, let's see. So talk about, let's go back. Talk about, is coaching what you thought it would be after playing under Coach Monty and then going on to the college level? Is it what you thought it would be? And do you still use any of his philosophies, and have you changed anything, or we'll talk about the experience in general?
Coaching is, I don't know if I really thought about what it would be, but as it has turned out to be, I love it. I think that you're obviously in this because you love it. You're not in it because you're making a ton of money, because you're not doing that. I think that for me, it's the competitive drive that I still have. It's trying to get kids to another level, to push them past what they think they can be. It's about establishing relationships with kids, hopefully trying to get them to the next level, whether it's college, whether it's just getting those guys on to being better adults. And then just inside the game, it's like, man, if you're coaching and you don't, you never, I think you never lose that competitive. Like I was super competitive as a player, and it's the same way now. I'm very intense with my guys. I challenge them. I ask for the most out of those guys. And to me, like that's what coaching is. It's pushing your boundaries, pushing the limits, pushing yourself, pushing your kids to just be the best that you can be the best coach, be the best kids that they can be, students and players. So for me, it's just the ultimate challenge. Is to get to where we want to be at Niagara Falls High School, is be a consistent powerhouse within New York State. It's something I'm striving for to build this program to.
Okay. Well, we talked about this in the print interview, and I know you said the kids are like way more athletic than in our day. Psychologically, are they different? Jason said his players are a little different.
Yeah.
The same thing?
And if you go back, so me and Tim argue about this all the time. And you know Tim, he will debate you to death.
Yes, yeah, I remember our discussion.
We debate a lot of the time on the athleticism part. I tell him I think kids are more athletic today overall, and then he'll point out a couple guys who were crazy athletic back in our day, and we'll go back and forth on it. But no matter where that stands from the athletic standpoint, from the psychological standpoint, it's way different. I think the kids are a lot more timid. They're not as they're not as aggressive, and it's just mentally we were a lot stronger back in our day. We could take a lot more. We would get at our teammates, like for me and Tim and Jody and those guys. We knew that we could get into it. I could yell at Tim, tell him something that he wasn't doing right. He could do the same to me. Jody did a lot of times say the same, get after me and Tim for the things we weren't doing correctly. And I think that's missing today. I think the kids don't challenge each other mentally. And I think it's just, I don't know when it started or where it came from, but it's a different generation where I think they take the criticism a lot more to heart, and they don't understand that it's not how it's being said, it's what's being said. So I think that now, when someone gets after a kid, they take it so much to heart. Where back in the day, we sort of know he got after me, he talked about me, but I knew at the end of the day, it was to make us better, to make me better. So I think the kids are a lot softer mentally right now, and it is what it is.
Okay. So, but we're not talking about a Christian Leitner, like really punking your teammates type thing. You're talking about just pushing each other, legitimately pushing each other.
Yeah, because I mean, at least I could speak for my team. Like, we're gonna go, we'll battle with anybody, we'll fight with anybody. Like I had a 6'1" center this year, and I mean, he went out there and played 6'8" kids, 6'10" kids, didn't back down, hit everybody. Those kids probably left a lot more sore than he did every game. It's the mental side of it that I think the kids are a lot different these days. And as far as challenging themselves and taking the criticism from a coach a different way, I think that kids are a lot softer. So the approach is a lot softer, where some you have to approach kids a little bit different. Where back in the day, Coach Monty's he's going to yell at number 1 through 15 the same way, and you just got to deal with it. Where today there's some kids we have to take into consideration and deal with them a different way, because they just can't handle it the same. And it's just where we're at right now.
Okay. Well, we are almost at 45 minutes. We're almost at the end. I have one more montage I'm going to play, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. This person must have been guarding him when we played, and maybe Carlos was jawing at him.
Yeah, I was, and I mean, it was, man. I forgot to mention one of my favorite players was Gary Payton. So hey, man, you watch him play, you're gonna pick up some things from him. So no, I was. It's funny because Coach Mine, everybody's like, hey, Carlos is a quiet, reserved guy, but once I got on the court, it was like different. It is a different animal, and yeah, I guess I would be considered a trash talker for sure, probably. I was pissed off, and then Coach Monty made it a point too. He would play mind games with us to piss us off. Like, look at this guy, he's got them in the back of his head, and so it was, man. I was ready to go nuts as soon as I seen him, just because I'm like, yeah, this dude really thinks he's he's that guy. It's funny, like I got enraged before the game because we were all sitting in the stands watching the games before, and he's laying down like sleeping in the stands. So I'm going nuts. Like, look at this dude. He over here sleeping, and he's got to play us. Like everything he did sort of made me go a little bit nuts. But
Wow.
he backed everything up though.
Okay.
Oh yeah. The majority of us were always together doing something. Like it's funny now because you see. I mean, some kids that or some teams that really are disconnected. Like we were sort of like a family. Like there was always 4 guys or something over my house, or I was always over somebody's house. It was those 9 out of your 11 guys were doing something together. It was like a family atmosphere. But no, definitely close.
So that was one of the secrets to winning. And I just met DeWitt Doss.
Oh, nice.
2 weeks ago when Dennis Wilson came down and had did the Buffalo takeover, which we all did this Buffalo Bills brunch on Sunday, and he came over and he approached me, and I kind of recognized him. He said, "I'm DeWitt Doss." I was like, "Oh, okay." So he told me, I sent him the link for this. He said, "You all text, you, Jody, Tim, and all the point guards. You guys all
we have our little group text. I got this. I think it's in my phone. It's Point Guard University. That's what I think my name of the group is. So yeah, we talk a lot. He's actually bringing his team down to play us in December this year. It'll be a huge challenge for us because they were the Maryland State champs last year.
So DeWitt coaches?
He's the athletic director.
Athletic director. Okay, we didn't talk in depth. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to ask him about that now. Okay. Yep. And he told me it's December 27th, 28th.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to try to come to that because I'm usually there. Okay, well that's awesome. So let's talk about. So it looks like from cyberspace, you've built a perennial power, just like Coach Monty did at LaSalle, and it looks like your teams dominate the Class A sectional, just like the LaSalle teams did. And you're in the Far West Regional every year. And you guys lost last year to the eventual champion Rochester Victor.
Yes, and that was tough, man, because that's a game I think we could have won. They were very good. I think we ended up losing by 7 or 8. They definitely were a lot better than us that night. What hurt more was they went down to Glens Falls and they think they won both games by 20 points and were state champs. So believe me, that game's still sitting on me, and I'm still watching film on it every now and then.
So just like Greece Athena.
Oh gosh, yes.
They squeaked past you guys, and then once they got there, they dominated, but they squeaked past you guys. Was it the Rochester Victor team? Were they a long and athletic team, or were they just deep at every position, or what?
Just knew how to play the game of basketball. Just played the game the right way. They're a group that, from talking to their coach after, I have great respect for the guy. He does a great job with them. But what he told me was that these guys have been together, I think, since 5th or 6th grade playing. They didn't stay to play for these other AAU teams. And you can there's certain things you can't teach, and you can see it when kids just have a connection. I mean, it's they obviously are nowhere near the level of the Niagara Falls super group, but it's the same way. It's because those guys were together for so long. You don't have to draw up everything. You don't have to. Those guys, they've been together for so long. They play with each other so long, and they've put in the work to be good for so long that you see things. Once you play them, there's things you don't see on tape. Like after you played them, once you played them and you seem like, man, just that little thing right here, the little thing he did right there. That's stuff that obviously their coach works on them with things, but just stuff that you get from playing with the kid for 10 years now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that they were a tough challenge. They were a team that they don't pop out and wow you on tape, but then once you get them in person, like the first few minutes, I'm like, man, it's going to be a battle tonight.
Okay, so Carlos, so I was just thinking about like today's players. Because today's players, we're in the era of the stretch 4 and the stretch 5. Can all the kids shoot it? Can all the kids step out behind the 3-point line now and place it up? And
I mean, all the kids try. I'm not going to say every kid can, but every kid tries. And I think that's what we're missing. Us in Niagara Falls and Niagara Falls High School, we've never really had bigs. just a couple years, we really had big guys. So we've always been sort of a smaller school that played a lot bigger than where we are, and that still hasn't changed. But the game has changed, where I think in some regards it helps us being a smaller team that you don't have to play too many guys that just go sit in the post and post you up all day long.
Yeah.
So it sort of helps a little bit where if you got a 6'7" and they're floating around away from the basket, that's what we would want playing them, because we're a small team.
Well, with a small team, do you have guys emulating Steph Curry where they're trying to pull from half court and put the ball in their legs and do all kinds of
right now we don't have any of those guys, but we have guys that like to shoot it, but not coming over half court pulling up. No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about what do you and it sounds like from what you said about how you put your teams together. I mean, obviously you're going to keep the guys that you had. You keep your veteran core, guys who are familiar with your system. So that builds continuity. Do you have a lot of players coming back for your 2023, 24 team?
We have 2 starters, 3 starters. Sorry, we have 3 starters back, and we have another one that played significant minutes. So we have 4 guys who played a pretty big role last year. Then we bring up a couple JV kids who were probably our best JV team we've had in a long time. So it's going to be competitive. Like we haven't had a schedule like this, and probably since they had that 2004, 2005 time. So I have to be patient with this group and realize that, wins might not come a ton early, but I think this schedule prepares for the second part of the season. And once we get to playoffs, I think we'll just be so battle tested that there's nothing that we haven't seen all year long.
Okay. Yeah. When you posted it on Facebook, from the outside looking in, it looks like you front loaded it. So that was your philosophy going in, is we're gonna
we're gonna
trial by fire in the beginning.
We're gonna take our lumps early. There's no doubt about it. We like I said, we opened with Victor, who was the state champs last year. Kearney, who's always a powerhouse in Rochester. And then we got Timon, who everybody considers the best team in Western New York. Then moving on to Charlotte to play, and then we got the Burger King Classic in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is Cathedral Prep, who's a powerhouse, and I think they got the Philadelphia state champion coming down to play. So we got all those. Edmondson West Side, we talked about the DeWitt Dawson's team from Maryland, who won the Maryland State Championship last year. Our 10, after our first 10 games, we're going through the gauntlet, and the second half is not a lot easier per se. It's going to be super tough, but I just think that that second half of the season will be a better team and will be a lot better tested. So I'm asking my guys, I don't care about the outside, what people are going to think. My guys and the guys that are in my locker room, our coaching staff, we got to be patient through the first 10 games and realize that we got a goal to get better at the end of the year. And we may not see as many wins as we traditionally would.
Okay. Well, the way this works, I don't know how the other coaches in Section 6, if they've been able to put a schedule together like that, but that's going to bode well for your team later on, because if they're playing such a high caliber of competition early, then they'll be more than ready for what they face in Section 6.
And that's what we're hoping. That's the goal. That's the hope. When I told somebody, they're like, "What were you doing with the schedule?" I said, "I wanted to play every game that we could win or lose." I said, "I think we could win every game. I think we could possibly lose every game." So, but that's what I think we want. I know some people like, "Hey, you struggled in the NFL a couple years ago. So why the step now?" And I just think our Niagara Frontier League teams, it's still going to be some tough teams, but a lot of teams lost a ton of guys. And even with our struggle, which they say was 2 years ago, when I go back and do the numbers, we won our league games by average of 20 points. And that's in a down year for us. So I think our kids being challenged every day is something that we need, is something our program needs, and I think will make us better. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to make a lot more of our younger guys want to stay here in Niagara Falls and play for Niagara Falls when they see the schedule we're putting together, the teams we're playing, where we're in a day and age where a lot of guys want to go run and play for other private schools. I think that keeps a lot of kids home, seeing it. There's not a lot of teams doing what we're going to be doing locally.
Interesting. Yeah. So once again, now it's normal for kids to go and play for prep schools and private schools.
Yeah, a big thing around our area is more the private schools where you got the guys going to Canisius Joe's and it wasn't always a big thing in Niagara Falls. It's just more of a recent thing. Probably over the last 10 years or so, we got a lot more guys going to private schools. And I think a big thing is, like you said, there not being a ton of opportunities where you're being able to pick a ton of people for your teams. But then it's just the allure of the private school, the availability to get in a gym more, maybe they think it's a better level of coaching, a better league, and an MMA. It's a lot of factors, but I think by us dedicating the time that we do as a coaching staff and putting the schedule together and just showing the kids how much we're dedicated to this Niagara Falls program, I think will keep a lot more kids home.
Okay, we just talked about Tim. Do your kids do they do the trainers? Do they have the trainers?
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great. Like I think kids need both. Think they need a mix of training, but they need to play. I think there's no lesson like learning to play, just getting in the gym and being creative on your own, or going in the gym and getting beat up by older guys. That's a valuable lesson that you can't get from one-on-one. So much of the training is one-on-one. And a lot of it, I think a lot of it helps guys' skill set, but a lot of it doesn't translate to being a better team basketball player. So I think that you have to do the individual training to get better yourself, but then you got to get in the gym, which I know Tim's one of the guys who really tells the guys, hey, we're going to do this training, but you guys need to go in and, what I put in this workout, you guys now need to bring that to a game. You need to bring that to your pickup runs so you need both. Like right now in this day and age, you need both. Like back in the day, we didn't have no trainers. We just went and played. But I think that the demand today and just the skill level of these kids to keep up, you have to have both.
Okay. I remember Tim saying that when I interviewed him the last time, that the kids don't just go out to the playground and play like they used to.
No, not at all. Like beautiful day like today, 80 degrees here, which is rare for Niagara Falls, Buffalo right now. You drive by the parks, there won't be a kid outside playing basketball.
Wow.
It's different.
It's different. Okay. Well, Coach, we're at the end. Again, I want to respect your time and I want to respect my own.
Yes,
for young aspiring coaches, like maybe you about 10 years ago, what advice would you give for getting into and becoming a varsity coach?
I just think you have to realize it's a process. You're going to have to be patient with it. At times I was not very patient. I think that the biggest thing is be patient, but at the same time, stick to your thoughts, your beliefs, and keep doing your thing the right way, the way you know it should be done. And I think just, follow your heart, what's right, what's wrong. But the biggest thing for me is just stay true to yourself, stay committed to what you want to do, and just realize a lot of things aren't going to happen overnight. You may have to wait a while and put a lot of time in to get to where you want to be.
Okay. And one other thing. So do you, I remember you guys at LaSalle you guys played a lot of defense. You guys pressed. Mm-hmm. Do you use those same philosophies yourself?
Oh yeah. There's guys always comment, man. They're like, there's one coach that said, man, I don't know where you guys find these kids. The Falls they breed them differently as far as we're mostly a full court man-to-man team, 94 feet. Try to mix in some zone, a lot of things, but man, we just dirty, grimy, hardworking team, and that's sort of a product of, I think, our environment. That's sort of what Niagara Falls has always been. So we're just following tradition and realizing that there's some years where you're not going to have those star guys to carry you offensively, but if you could defend, you can play with a lot of teams. Okay, we've got DeWitt Doss here in the chat. DeWitt, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be contacting you after this because your name came up during this this talk. One more. How's Jalen doing? Did he graduate, or is he still in school? Jalen is at a community college now. He's sort of, he got hit with that COVID bug where, he was one of those kids who was getting recruited. Then college basketball just got a lot older. So it sort of affected him. as far as the standpoint of, I think he has to do some physical maturing to get to the point where where he wants to get to. So Jalen is a situation where, he had a lot of early interest, a lot of early quote unquote offers that sometimes are not real, sometimes are, but as COVID came, it sort of hit his senior year and it changed a lot of his recruiting. So now he's he's consistently in the gym, he's working, he's in school, and hopefully he has a big year this year. And in probably 2 years, this will be his freshman year playing. So he redshirted last year, tried to get some weight on. So he's still working. I think he's got a new focus on getting to where he needs to get, and he realizes a lot more what it takes right now. So it's a process, but I'm proud of him, and I'm glad that he's sticking with it and doing what he needs to do to try to get to where he wants to.
Okay, yeah, Jalen's a gamer, man. I remember that dunk at the university prep game.
yeah,
at the park school, and
yep.
That for everyone. I mean, for the folks who weren't there, I think Jalen got the ball in a breakaway, and the university prep kid, they were running down the court at the same time. That kid was cocky. He was like shaking his head, like, nah, you're not gonna. Jalen rose straight up, flushed it on him. The whole gym went nuts.
Yeah, that was a highlight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was quite a night. All right. Do you have any other parting shots? Any other words? Any thoughts, Carlos?
No. Just I know I saw DeWitt was on there, and I'm just telling him to take it easy. His boys take it easy on me when they come down here and on December 27th and 28th, because he tried to get me. He's like, man, we ain't all that good. Then he's like, yeah, I got this Big 10 guy, Big 12 guy. So I just need my man DeWitt to know you're going to have to take it a little bit easy when you come down here over Christmas break.
Okay. Well, that's going to be a good experience for your guys and for his guys. So,
yeah.
So
no, definitely. Yeah, it's always good when the LaSalle guys get together.
DeWitt says, we lost a 6'10" big.
Yeah, you got another one.
All right. Well, Carlos, yeah, we're just over an hour. So thank you. Hey, thank you for the first print interview. Thank you for this one. I appreciate that.
No, I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate it big time, and I'm sure that's from the whole basketball community here that you've taken out time to talk to.
Okay. Yeah. So you'll see little snippets of this go up on Facebook, and I appreciate this.
All right. Appreciate you.
All right. You have a good night.
Yep. Take care.
Peace. All right, everyone. That was Coach Carlos Bradberry, the head coach of the Niagara Falls Wolverines, the Niagara Falls Wolverines, and he's a Section 6 legend, a legend at LaSalle, and now he's spreading that love for the game and that knowledge to future generations. So I'm going to wrap this up. I need to get in the bed because I have to get up and go to the office in the morning, and that means I have to be up early. So everybody who came through, Alonzo, DeWitt, I will be in touch with you shortly, and I'm going to wrap this stream up. So everyone, this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar. Please like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are new. If you want to donate something to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box. You can also leave a super thanks if you would like to. And also, please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. The link is I don't have that queued up, but it's in the description box, and it's very easy to sign up. So please consider signing up. So yeah, everyone, this was it's Michigan football season right now. The Wolverines are on a tear, but throughout this football season, I will veer off at some points and at some times to talk about my book project and to cover the Buffalo Bills and do some other things. So this was a big deal tonight for me to be able to talk to Carlos Bradberry again. Yeah. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Yeah, everyone enjoy the rest of your night. And thank you. If you watch this on the playback, please let me know what you think in the comments section below. Did you like this? Did you think it was interesting? Especially any of my Michigan football people. If you were curious enough to take a look at this, yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. I might have said description box earlier, but it's late. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your night. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.